Do you know if any of the existing game streaming technologies?
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about their like.
The thing is, like, they keep this. I guess what Google's now announced one.
Yeah,
and it's, as far as I know, like the fourth major one that has been announced.
Right.
Way back, there was OnLive and Gaikai,
right,
which was acquired by Sony, and I don't know if they ever did anything with it.
Right.
And then maybe about a year ago, there's this thing called Shadowbox, which actually you can use to do this like remote. You can just install video editing software on it if you want.
Oh wow, cool.
You know, so
same with Amazon. You can probably even pull that off.
You can probably use a EC2 or whatever, the cloud, Amazon Cloud, to do it as well. They have, but the thing is, their GPU powered computes are pretty pricey.
Yeah, they are. They're super pricey.
So, like something more targeted towards gamers is at this point going to be more reasonably priced,
right?
Because like I guess if you're using 2080 Ti's on Amazon's cloud, you're probably doing AI or some kind of research or finance stuff that you don't mind spending the extra money.
Right.
But for just me wanting to edit my YouTube videos, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And then now there's some kind of announcement about Google doing it. But when OnLive first came out, everyone was like, "Oh, it's not ever going to work because of the latency." And they're like, "No, it's going to work. Don't you believe you me? Come do this test where we're next door to the server,
right?
Right, and we'll prove it to you."
Right. But I mean, again, they're not wrong inherently. You can do it this way, like from a physics standpoint, you can do it this way. If your internet connection is fast enough. And
are they using quantum entanglement?
No, because remember that the control portion, okay, imagine the video game is just like 2 pixels on the screen, right? Or you're just 2 pixels moving around. Well, that would be easy to stream. Easy to stream as your enemy's controls are. Your enemy's controls are where they're moving their mouse and their keyboard controls and stuff like that. That all has to go up to a central server. That latency is what we're dealing. That's the most important latency, especially in a multiplayer game, is like, what's the latency of the players? Well, that has to go to the internet and go up to the server and all that. So why not move the entire video frame too? It's more data. Well, it's more data, but like, who cares? So once you have enough space, the game is indifferent to how much data you're moving.
Well, here's one difference.
The latency is indifferent.
When you're rendering the game locally, when you make an input, your character responds instantly.
Yeah, on your side. Yeah,
on your side
want to work to blow that away.
So at least you have, from the standpoint of like,
you're right.
Are my controls responsive?
Yeah, you're right.
Yes, they are.
You're right.
Now, there might be things where the system realizes that your opponent and you are not where you said you were.
Right.
And then you could have like this jump situation where it tries to reposition you in the world where you should be at this point.
I think we talked about this in Street Fighter. It's called game state replay, where the players get a responsive view of the game, meaning I press punch, I immediately punch, like within a frame, That same for my opponent. The server knows who punched first. And so if it looks like I hit them, but they actually punch first, my character is the one that gets hit.
It's called a rollback.
Yeah, they rollback. Yeah. So that's something that games do, I'm sure, to different degrees. And they're all working really hard to compensate for latency. So you might be right. You might be right that like, if the servers are rendering it, it'll never be as nice as if it's local. That's
in terms of player control.
In terms of feel, it'll never feel as good.
Yeah.
So if you put all the frames through the internet, then you never get to do game state rewind. And why did they do game state rewind? It's because the game wasn't as fun if you didn't do it. But if the server's rendering the frames, you can't do it.
And when you're talking about fighting games, any real competitive action game, up until 10 years ago, people were saying, no, 30 frames per second is not enough.
Right.
It has to be 60 frames per second because that 1/60th of a second matters.
Yeah.
And now people are playing on 244 hertz monitors, even.
So I think, ideally, when you're playing an online competitive video game where reaction time matters, the people you play against should be in your region. That's going to be better. But it only matters so much as it matters to people who play these games. So I don't even know. Can you even play Fortnite on a LAN these days, or is it always up to a server?
Oh,
like when these kids did the tournament, was it local or was it up to the net?
I don't know anything about Fortnite specifically.
Okay.
But my suspicion is that it's not the kind of game that you can host your own server.
Right. I get that. Yeah.
Because they have ways that they
even though it's one of the most popular games right now, and it is super competitive, yet people aren't complaining about like the fact that they can't run it competitively in a LAN type format. We should find out.
I think
those kids that played the
target audience for it is young enough that that's not really on the radar.
Right. Well, that just goes to show, like if you design games around the limitations, it won't matter. You just admit that the limitations are there and design a good game.